Hi, today I'm starting the process of building a sleeping platform for my SUV and I'm taking you along with me. Take a look. As you can see, I removed the back seats already, and the idea is to make the surface flat and to turn the space which is originally for the feet into little hatches where I can store stuff. The only issue is that I don't have any competencies in woodworking, but I could try to design it on a CAD software, but then I would need tons of measurements from the inside of the CRV if I want it to fit perfectly. But there's a process that can do that. It's called photogrammetry. Basically, it consists in taking a bunch of pictures from different angles and to feed it to a dedicated software that will build the 3D model for you. Thanks God, there's a software that is free, open source, and easy to use. And you may wonder, is that why the windows and the windshield are hidden? Yes, because when doing photogrammetry you don't want to capture anything that will not be included in the model, but worst of all, you don't want to have any transparent surfaces. So let's try and see how it turns out. Here is the result of the 3D scan. It is far from perfect, but it's good enough so that we can do whatever we are going to do. Just be aware that I had to reduce the number of polygons using Blender, just so that I can have enough resources to work on Fusion 360. And also I had to scale the 3D model, because by default you don't get a proper scaling, so I had to make some measurements and to ensure that it's matching the measurements in the car. Now let's discuss about what the photogrammetry part of this project was able to provide me compared to more traditional technique where you would just use a pencil and a little wooden stick to draw out the outline of the interior of the car. So the first thing is, of course, having the 3D model enable me to have 3D section views, cross-sections views, so that I can very easily draw the outline, which will, in short, will be the wooden platform. So you will see that it's not perfectly fitting here. It's a mistake because I probably moved things around after finishing the project. And when obtaining this cross-section, drawing half of the wooden platform, I was able to, of course, duplicate it, and then realize that the width of the wooden platform must be at least 750 millimeter wide, which is wider than the small-sized plywood board which I can usually get. The size above that is this big rectangle, which is in terms of length 2500 millimeter. And this I can buy it in a shop, but it would not fit my car. So I first thought about putting it on my roof, then I realized I would probably have an accident. So I decided I would just go buy the board in a shop and cut it in 3 pieces directly on the parking lot. So I even used a portable LiFePro4 battery to do the job, because I had no electro-portative tools. So I made one. Anyway, so this was one advantage. The second advantage was to be able to make measurements, for example, on the size which is available near the feet, on the height of the roof, on where these little handles are sitting, because I used these to plan things, for example, to add a little mesh net to put my clothes above to make sure that it's fitting. Also to think about what I could be fitting there, for example, foldable table, big chairs, camping chairs. And all of that was possible without me going outside with a measurement tape to do these measurements. And it was useful, especially during this winter, since I mostly worked on this project during the night. and it was snowy or rainy outside. So it was a big advantage.
I did one mistake. I lost a considerable amount of time by doing cardboard patterns. And while cardboard is very cheap, easy to cut, it's actually not very strong. So every time I was kneeling on the cardboard pattern, every time I was deforming it, actually I was getting less confident with the shape of it and how I would transfer the shape to 15mm thick plywood. So I ended up doing a sketch on Fusion 360, of course, from the 3D scan, and to project it using the GoPro webcam app and video feedback on my laptop. So I traced the 2D sketch to cardboard, I slowly improved the pattern, and I ended up with this shape. So this time I have a nice pattern made of a few millimeter thick plywood. So of course this kind of plywood is not very cheap, but at least I'm very confident with the final shape I got. And you can see I used very strong adhesive in order to move the little things around. I will show you how it looks in the CRV. So this is how it looks like for the driver's seat, and you can see that the fitting is quite good. And as I told you, this shape allows it to go deep in the front seat. Safety first, I have this great mask and swap for this particle card varieties. That's a big baby. I had 3 points of contact. The back of the trunk, just here, and the 2 feet. It should be enough, but in order to avoid having so much stress in this area, I'm adding another point of contact here. You have guessed, I'm using duct tape again, just to try if it works. It's not moving around, so it's perfect for testing, and I'm not doing any damage to the plywood. And it worked, so I'm just going to try to get better looking pieces and screw it on directly on the plywood. It's imbricked. It's done. I'm done. No more excuses not to sleep in the CRV anymore. So it is other people, ideas, mistakes, design choices which led me to build my own setup. And I hope this specific video will contribute to that. On the other hand, the most exciting things are coming down the road. So I don't know where I'm going with that setup. We'll see, but this will be for another video.